The 2023 Blue Ridge Rock Fest was a complete, absolute logistical nightmare. Tornado warnings, a hailstorm, not that kind, a single water station for 60,000 people, flooded campsites, a parking lot that was a 2-hour walk away with 5 school buses transporting 30,000 plus people, and worst of all, none of us got to see baby metal. Blue Ridge Rock Fest 2023 was a stacked lineup of metal and rock artists that made insane people like me spend an egregious amount of money to drive in and fly in from all over the world to the Virginia International Speedway on the border of Virginia and North Carolina. The festival was organized by Jonathan Sly, who is the CEO of Purpose Driven Events, and you can direct all your tomatoes at him after the video. Now, I was at this 4-day festival to see artists like Slipknot, Limp Bizkit, Knocked Loose, Pantera, and much more. But like everybody else who went, I found out pretty quickly that the organizers of the event had f***ed us before we even got there. So I'm pissed, we're pissed, and here are the ways that Blue Ridge failed miserably to put on what could have been one of the best rock and metal festivals of all time. First thing I want to hit on is weather. Part of this couldn't have been helped, but part of it really could have. On the first day of the festival, it rained, and it rained hard. And this was about 10 seconds into the first song of Coheed and Cambria's set. The festival organizers then evacuated everyone based on a tornado warning, which is completely understandable. What wasn't understandable, however, was the complete lack of emergency evacuation protocol. On the camping side of the festival, tents were destroyed, grounds were flooded, and campers weren't allowed to leave. And if they did, re-entry was not granted for the whole rest of the weekend. My group of friends and many other festival goers stood outside on a shuttle bus line in the rain and hail, under a lightning storm, under a bunch of trees for 2 hours. And we were towards the front of the line. The rain ebbed and flowed, but people were noticeably just soaked and shivering, and there could have been a chance of hypothermia out there. The organizers of Blue Ridge clearly had no plan for an emergency. If it was an actual tornado, people would be dead. But why were over 30,000 people waiting for shuttle buses, may you ask? That brings me to part 2, car trouble. Blue Ridge was set up to have campsites with tents and an RV park about a 20-minute walk away from the venue, although me and my buds drove in daily, which was another issue that I will get to. Word came out that it initially took campers up to 9 hours to get into the festival grounds to set up their tents and their RVs, and that was a day before the festival got going. Now, for drivers, not only did you have to drive to Southern Virginia, but you had to park your car in one of 2 lots, a lot in Virginia and a lot in North Carolina. Both were located at least a 2-hour walk away from the actual venue, or a 10-minute drive. And for that ride, Blue Ridge Rock Fest hired 30 buses to transport you. On the Thursday of the festival, the line for the bus took about 45 minutes. Not so bad. But on the Friday, it took me and my friends about 5 hours to get on a bus. And that was because Blue Ridge stopped letting people in due to inclement weather, but it was really because they overbooked the festival by 11,000 people and couldn't let anybody else into the outdoor venue while bands were still playing. Oh, and by the way, we had to buy shuttle bus tickets for that, which cost $50 a person for the whole weekend. And when we got out of the festival Friday night, we thought, oh, well, the evacuation was really bad yesterday, but now we're all supposed to be leaving. What could possibly be worse than the day before? And it was worse. We were faced with about a 4-hour line. Must have been at least 10,000 people waiting to get on a bus to the parking lots. So instead of waiting 4 hours, I, my friends, and a bunch of other people from the festival decided, let's just walk the 2 hours back to the parking lots. Thankfully, a random rogue bus driver found us walking back, and he pulled over and he was like, "You going to the fairgrounds parking lot?" And we were like, "Yes, sir." And then he took us there. What a sweetheart. Beautiful man. Now, while all this terrible stuff was happening, a bunch of miscellaneous other stuff was going on. So here's some of that. The festival grounds had a single water station for 60,000 people in 97-degree weather. Security guards for the festival were very, very nice, and they were a part of a third-party group, and a lot of them started quitting during the festival. Festival employees were allegedly not given a lot of food and water, and they started to quit too. The shuttle bus drivers, although very nice, were hired guns and not told anything. Ever. No communication. Lastly, the final 2 days of the festival were canceled due to weather, which was very suspiciously gorgeous on the last day of the festival, being Sunday. I'm guessing that's because of all the terrible evacuation plans that they had on Thursday. So to wrap this all up, we really only need 2 things from Jonathan Sly, the head of Blue Ridge Rock and Country Festivals, and that's answers as to why his festival was organized so poorly this year, and of course, big-time refunds. And all that stuff is what I got to experience at Blue Ridge 2023. Thankfully, I drove 7 hours to go there. And one last thing I will say is that the fans themselves, the people I met, were so nice. Nicest people I've ever met. Everybody was in it all together, and it was really, really special. If you went to Blue Ridge, I'd love to hear your stories about it, or if your friends went, I'd love to hear their stories. So shoot it in the comments below, and I will do some reading. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, get your refunds, and see you next time.